Ladies and gentlemen, in today's video, we're about to uncover one of the most horrendous NBT type questions. I'll be honest with you guys, I wrote the NBTs twice and I got distinctions for my NBTs. But when I saw this question, I was like, this is really worth covering because this actually gives you a bit of a sneak preview or a glimpse into what NBT type questions are actually like. I must preface and say that this question is not actually from an NBT, but however, it was inspired by questions that we actually saw in the NBTs, as well as some of our students. They've actually given us feedback on how their NBTs were. So myself and my team, we actually create questions, and we saw one of the questions actually was similar to this, but then we just modified it because obviously we're not allowed to share NBT questions because that is illegal. And of course, the NBT has some very strict policies with regards to sharing their questions. But of course, our job is to educate you on the NBTs and guide you on how you can succeed and do well on the NBTs. And that's why we created this mock question to kind of give you a good glimpse of that. Before we actually start this question just now, I need to actually mention something very important to you. Chances are that you're in Matric right now and you're planning to actually write the NBTs. That's actually why you're watching this video. And something that I need to actually let you know is that the NBTs are very difficult and very competitive. The reason I'm sure you're probably writing the NBT is because you're trying to broaden your options and apply at different universities. But the thing is, a lot of students, when they prepare for the NBTs, they don't prepare for the NBTs in the right way. They end up just practicing math past papers and English past papers, thinking that they are practicing NBT type questions, but a matter of fact, they're not, because remember, the NBTs are completely different to how your typical exams are tested. So that's why we've created the most comprehensive NBT preparation course for students just like yourself to really ensure that you're ready for the NBTs. Our course has over 1,500 practice questions, over 30 hours of detailed video content on every single thing tested in the NBTs, both for the math and the English NBT, as well as access to actual one-on-one tutors if you also want to have a dedicated tutor that can guide you and provide guidance with regards to preparing well for your NBT. So if you're someone who really wants to do well on the NBTs, go ahead and tell your parents about this course. It's an investment in your future. And remember, you only really get to write the NBTs once because some universities don't really take your second score if you fail the first time. So do the best you can the first time. And of course, you can check out the link in our description. Another thing to keep in mind with our course is that our course has limited enrollments. So we're not going to take on every student in South Africa. We're only taking on a specific amount of students this year. So if you're very keen, please do enroll as soon as you can before our enrollments actually close for the year. So yeah, that's a little bit on that and the course. And now let's actually dive into the main question. Let's solve this horrible NBT type question. Cool, so now we are live and I'm currently solving this question on my iPad. Got my iPad right here, as you can see. Gotta showcase the technology, but pretty much that's what we're doing right now, right? So when we actually look at this question, what's actually very interesting about it is that you have a combination of trig as well as log expressions in this question. That's something that you don't often get, right? I must say that that's something that you don't often get. So the first thing that you want to do when you solve this expression, right, is that you want to solve what's in the brackets first, right? So you want to look at what's in the sine bracket and look at what's in the tan bracket, because those expressions are different. We need to find a way to kind of make them the same, or at least create some sort of similarities between these two expressions, because obviously now if you have two expressions that are different, you can't really simplify the two expressions because they're different expressions, right? So let's actually do that, right? So the first thing that we're going to do is we can see that for this expression at the top, at least, right, it says that this is log of 10x plus 25 plus x squared, right? Whereas this is log of 5 plus x. What we want to do is we want to find a way to actually make those two similar, right? So actually sort of find some similarity between those two. And the best way to do that, my friend, let me do that for you right now. So what we're going to do is we're basically going to write this out and say this is basically equal to sine of log of x squared plus 10x plus 25, right? What we're basically doing now is we're basically just rewriting that expression so that we can write it out as a trinomial form, right? It actually makes things a lot easier and more similar to things that we're used to seeing, right? And then all of that, of course, over tan of log of 5 plus x. So now that we've done that, right, what we can actually do is when you actually look at this expression, this is basically a trinomial, right, or a quadratic if you want to, so to speak, right? So what you can do is you can actually factorize that and write it out in its factors. So what you can do is you can basically say that this is basically sine of log of x plus 5 x plus 5, right? Because of course what we know about factorization is that this is going to be x squared plus 10x plus 25, and what you know about this, you can break it up. This is plus 5 plus 5, so therefore, and if you add these two, it gives you 10, so therefore in that case it's basically x plus 5 times x plus 5, right? Or in this case, what we can actually just do, we can actually just say x plus 5 all squared, That's probably better, right? So x plus 5 all squared, and then all of that is equal to tan of log, log of 5 plus x. Instead of saying 5 plus x, we'll just say x plus 5 because it's the same thing. Because as mentioned, what we're trying to do is we're trying to find similarity between the numerator and the denominator. And the more things are similar, the more we can actually do to actually cancel things out and simplify the expression. So what we're going to do now, right, is that we're basically going to say that because we know that, what we can see here, we can actually see an exponent over there, right? And this is a log, right? We have a log here and we have an exponent that is within the log, right? So what's interesting about that, right, is that we can actually use the log law, because for those of you who know, log of a to the power of b is actually equal to b times log of a. Log expression, that's the exponential rule. We already know that rule, right? So therefore what we can basically do is we can basically say that we can take this 2 out and put it in front of the log like that, right? So therefore it becomes sine of 2 log of x plus 5 all over tan of log of x plus 5. Cool. So now that we have x plus log of x plus 5 and log of x plus 5, that's amazing because we can see there's some similarities forming here. So what we can do, right, to actually simplify this further, right, we can't necessarily just simplify the trig expressions now because you see we have a 2 there. So that makes things a little bit difficult, right? But what we can do, right, whenever you have something like this, we can actually use something called the K method. I'm sure you've probably heard of it before. If you've not heard of it before, then at least it's the first time you've heard about it, right? So what you can do is basically look at the similarities or look at the things that are similar, and then you can write them in terms of something else, right? So we can basically say like let K, or let's say theta, because when it comes to trig, we normally work with theta, right? So let's say that theta is equal to log of x plus 5. So therefore what this becomes, it therefore becomes sine of 2 theta all over tan of theta. Wow, that looks like something that we've actually seen before, fam. That actually looks like something we've seen before. So now we can actually use trig to simplify this even further. So what we're going to do is that we're basically going to say that this is equal to, because of course sine 2 theta is equal to 2 sine theta cos theta all over tan theta. What we know about tan theta, tan is basically equal to sine over cos. So we can say that's sine theta over cos theta. And therefore, when we simplify that, right, we can actually just move this down a little bit. Therefore, that becomes, because the signs are going to basically cancel out because it's, that's how it is. And then this cos, because the cos is in the denominator, it's going to multiply with that, right? Fraction law, remember that, fam. So what's going to happen is that this is going to be 2 times cos theta times cos theta, which therefore just becomes 2 cos squared theta. And that's pretty much the simplest form we can write it in. But remember this. The question is actually in the form of, we need to write it out in the form of like log, right? Because remember the log was there. So the log didn't just go away. It still has to be there, right? So therefore this is going to become 2 times cos squared. And remember theta, we said that theta was equal to log of x, or log of x plus 5. So therefore that's going to become log of x plus 5. So therefore, in this case, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Macy's and Cians, apologies for my bad Afrikaans, but I did Afrikaans in high school. Like I can speak a bit of Afrikaans, but you pretty much get the idea. That's pretty much the answer that you get for this question. This is exactly how you would solve it. And therefore, when you simplify it, right, just keep in mind the NBTs are multiple choice. So in that case, the whatever option is equal to that, then in that case, that's what the option will be equal to. So ladies and gentlemen, if you've enjoyed this video, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new. If you have any questions or comments or thoughts or anything, or any type of NBT content that you feel like you want us to cover, remember we're on a very high posting schedule, so we're going to be posting every single week. So if you have any content ideas, if you want any questions answered, feel free to comment in the comment section below and we'll do our best to actually answer you. Also, do follow us on TikTok and Instagram. We also post a lot of fun interactive content there as well, and we also post a lot of content on just general NBT prep advice. And for those of you who really want to do well on the NBTs, as mentioned in the beginning, the NBTs are super competitive, and it's very important that you maximize your MBT success as much as you can, because realistically you only really get one chance to do so. It's because you're only in Matric once in your life. So if you want to really do well in your MBTs, tell your parents about our MBT course and enroll in the course. It is a game changer, and so far our students who have enrolled have really been enjoying it so far, and they're really tracking well towards the MBT. So go ahead and enroll. All the links are in the description to our socials and everything like that, and feel free to share this video with someone that you think will enjoy this video. So yeah, without further ado, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.